Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Institute Industry Forum, all are welcome here on this digital platform. So today's we have arranged this webinar, free webinar on transformers. We have faculty that is Mr. Deepak Loya, and we want to say something about our this Institute Industry Forum. So here people from that is experts from industry and some experts from institutions. So jointly we are working here so that we can achieve some great academic achievements we can do in this. So we are in this forum, we are arranging regular webinars on different topics, and we are trying to achieve the excellence in the academic. So the aim of means we know that industry is working particularly at one side and institutions are working at one side. But when we have jointly work together, then we can bridge the gap between these two. We have also students connected with us in we have one academy, that is Technovision Academy. So there are students across India are connected with us. So we are freely guiding to the students for their projects, seminar, dissertations, and also we are arranging webinars for them also. And our today's faculty is Mr. Deepak Loya. He will be taking the session on transformer. So this session will be in 3 parts. On the consecutive Sundays, this is part 1, part 2, and part 3 will be arranged. So what now about the faculty? Mr. Deepak Loya did his B from Government Engineering Amravati in 2005, and after that he did his MTech in integrated power system from Visvesvaraya National Institute of Technology, Nagpur. And later on, he has joined. Then he has joined many industries. He worked with MSEDCL, that is Maharashtra State Electricity Distribution Company. But from his career, he is actually a very we can say risk-taking person. So he has left that government job and he has joined the private industry. And now 15 years he has dedicated of his career to this field. So in different renowned organizations he worked in different areas like institutional sales, marketing. He did different jobs there. Then business development. Also many things like strategic planning, contracts, erection, commissioning works of in the power sector, then project execution and management, substation equipment testing and commissioning he did at many voltage levels, then other marketing activities he did. Also he was leader at many places in the, various organizations. Then he worked with Crompton Greaves Limited, Mumbai, as a manager marketing. Later on, he worked with Skipper Electricals India Limited, Mumbai, as a manager marketing. Later on, again, he has joined Crompton Greaves Limited, Mumbai, as a executive and senior executive marketing. Later on, previously he has joined this MSEDCL. So he has a vast experience in the field of power system. He worked at many places. So, and also he has a clear GATE exam in 2005 with the percentile of 96.49. And he was a president and vice president of Electrical Engineering Student Association at graduation level. So such person with a high academic career, and also he has a tremendous knowledge of industry, practical experience of industry. So I would like to invite him and start his today's session. So on behalf of that is Institute Industry Forum. We welcome to Deepak Loya sir, and I'm requesting him to start his session. Sir, you can start your session.
So, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So, good morning, all of you. Mr. Santosh has described me too high. Actually, I am a still learner in the industry and trying to learn many things. Though I had a good experience in this electrical field, and I have worked from utilities to the private industries, from installation engineer to right now the regional sales manager in Kargil, India. And I have handled many products in the industry, like when I was working with MSCDCL, then I had different experiences to handle many equipments like transformers, switchgear, line equipments, the earthing equipments, testing equipments. When I was in Crompton, I handled mostly the power transformers, installation of power transformer, marketing of the power transformer, tendering of the power transformer, costing transformers. Then when I was in Skipper Electricals, again, it was a multi-product company. So I handled mostly the MV switchgear products along with the transformers. Now I am, as in my current role in Kargil, I'm accountable for sales and marketing of a special electrical transformer fluid that is called ester fluid. So with the past experience and the platform created by Mr. Santosh, that is the Institute Industry Forum, I thought to share my experience with mostly the new guys in the industry. Today's session is very basic session. It is introduction about the transformer and history of the transformers, how the transformer evolved, where we are using the transformers, how to select the transformer. This is all we are going to cover today in our first session. In next sessions, we will decide based on today's session input what should be our line of action, or what should be our next topics of the presentation, like whether we want to go for faults in the transformer and its troubleshooting, or we want to go for the operation and maintenance practice of the transformer, we want to go for new technologies in the transformer, how to adapt them and how those are adapted till date, what are the upcoming technologies. So that I will mostly decide on the today's feedback which topics we shall cover, because if we want to understand or learn everything about the transformer, then at least 6, 7, 8 sessions will be required to cover all these topics. Now I will request Santosh sir to just start our PPT, which I have forwarded him, if he has received it.
Yeah, I received and downloaded. Just I'm starting it.
So basically, the PPT is very long, but I am not going to cover all the topics in this PPT. So today, as I told, we will be covering basically the application of the transformer, or what is the transformer, why it is required, the basic principles of the transformer, and just the initial topic, how to decide a transformer to be used, like which transformer we want to use, or how to select the specifications of the transformer, or how to make a specification. See, we are engineers, and when we are electrical engineers and we move around the society, people look at us with a bigger role. Basically, if everything, people think that each and everything from the electrical should be known to you. Okay, like when I go to my home in village, my aunt says, "Arey, wo fan kharab ho gaya. How to fix it?" So that is the vast area of the expectations of people from us. But if to start with, at least we should justify to our roles for which we are in the industry. Like when I am working in a power system, then transformer is the most crucial item to know everything about it. when I am an electrical engineer working in a substation or working in any power system design company, or I am working in a EPC companies, basically engineering, procurement and commissioning engineering, then substation is the major part, and in a substation the transformer is a major part. So today we will try to understand what is the transformer. Santosh sir, next slide please.
Yes, moving.
Yep. So Santosh sir, I hope today's major audience is from institutes. Those are mostly students.
Yeah, most of student and some of the faculty members are there, and some people are from industry also.
So I apologize to faculty members and the people from industry, because today's session may look very basic for them, but I bet 20% of you only may be knowing the facts which I am presenting today, and 80% people will enjoy to know about the history of the transformer. See, everything is from Google. Whatever presentation I have made today, 80% of the content is available on the Google. Okay, but do we Google it? Do we try to find the facts and figures about the transformer in such detail? That is the major challenge. So if you look into the power system ecosystem, okay. So when I am having a complete power system around me, if I have a glance at that, the basic things in the power system are, or basic components of power system are generation, transmission, distribution, and consumer. Okay. So why the transformer is required? Where the need of transformer has come from? As a consumer, I want to use 1 kilowatt or 1 unit of electricity. Do you know through how many transformer this 1 unit gets transferred, or from which network it is traveling to your network? Fairly, almost all of us know from where that energy is coming. That energy which we are using at our home or at our place is generated at remote place somewhere else. Okay, I need only 1 unit, but is there any mechanism where I can just produce 1 unit which I want to utilize? Yes, there are mechanisms. Those are called distributed generations. So either I can have a solar panel on my rooftop, I can have a diesel generator set beside my house or inside my house, and I can generate whatever I want to consume. But these are not the economical solutions. So what we are depending on? We are depending for our electricity consumptions on the grid power. What is the grid now? The grid is like an ocean where the generation is dumped, or I will say lake, where all the generated energy is dumped, and the users draw energy from that sump or that ocean or that lake. Okay, so there is somebody generating and putting the energy there in the grid, and the people who want to utilize it are utilizing, are taking or withdrawing energy from that sump. So that is called grid. So today, India, fortunately, all across the India, we have a common grid which is supported or which is operated by Power Grid Company of India Limited, PGCIL. This is the national grid which is connecting all 4 corners of our country: North grid, East grid, South grid, West grid, which has been now integrated, and we are having the one central grid. Each state is having their own generation or own transmission, own distribution system. Apart from the central transmission companies like NTPC or NHPC, they are generating energy for the country on central basis, and they are also pumping to central grid. Apart from that, each state have their own generation companies. Like in Maharashtra, where we are sitting today, we have Mahagenco, Maharashtra State Generation Company Limited, who's generating more than, I think, 10,000 megawatt of the power, and it is pumping to the state transmission system again. But our load may be higher than what we are generating in our state. So sometimes we are drawing power from the national grid, or sometimes when at lower load situations, we may be exporting power. Okay, so that is called import and export. So everything what I am talking right now, so for every second or every minute or for every purpose, either we are drawing power from network or we are sending power to the network. So I am transferring energy from one circuit to another circuit. And there is the role of these power transformers. So if you see the technical definition of this transformer, it is transformer is a passive electrical device that transfer electrical energy from one electrical circuit to another or multiple circuits. So what is the role of transformer? Transfer the energy. That's why it is called as transformer. So the basic function of transformer is transfer the energy from one circuit to another circuit. Now it comes, then why I need transformer? I can just connect the cables to one circuit and get the power. But friends, each circuit have the different potential level or different voltage level. For example, if I have a diesel generator set, DG set in my house, the generation voltage of the DG set would be equal to my load voltage. That means single phase, if it is a single phase, it may be having 230 volt, or if it is three phase, it may be having 415 or 433 volts. Okay. But if I am having a solar power plant or like I will say the ground mounted solar plant of 1 megawatt, then my generating voltage may be in the range of 600 volt or 800 volt. Now I cannot use this 600 volt or 800 volt at my house. So to change the voltage level to connect to my circuit, I need a transformer. So transformer is transferring energy at different voltage levels. So sometimes I need to increase the voltage. Okay. And sometimes I need to decrease the voltages. So when I am increasing voltages, it is called stepping up. I'm just from one step, I'm going to higher step. So it is a stepping up. Like you can see that you everywhere you are moving around, you will find the transformers mounted on between two poles. What are they doing? They are converting your power or transferring the power from your utility distribution network to your households by stepping down the voltage. The primary voltage of the distribution circuit or distribution network is 11,000 volts. That is 11 kV. And from there, what you need? You need 433 or 415 volts. So you need 415 volts for this, for allowing you to use that power at 11 kV, which is distributed by distribution network at 433 volt level. You need a transformer, and that transformer is stepping down. Okay, so that is the terminologies we are using: step up and step down. So here in the presented diagram, you can see that there is a generating station. So generating station normally, if you see the older versions of power plants or generation plants, the voltage levels were around 6.9 kV. Then it moved to 11 kV. Then it moved to 21 kV. Now even 33 kV generators are available. But this power has to travel a long distance from the source of generation to the consumers. You know that lower the voltage, higher will the current, because your MVA is nothing but the multiplication of voltages and current. M means mega, V is voltage, and A is ampere, that is current. So if I have a lower voltage, then my I, the current will be higher. If my current is higher, then the losses related to current those are I square R losses, will be higher. When my I is high, I square R is high, then my Q, the heat generated, or which is I square RT, that heat will also be higher. So to minimize the effect of this heat and the current and the losses, and definitely the transmission line material, because if I have very high current, then I may need the conductor area very high. Because again, every conductor have certain limit for transmission of the current, that is called as current density. Okay, so if I am using aluminum, there will be X current density. I am using copper, then there will be X plus delta X current density allowed to be transferred to that network. So if more the current, the more the cross-section area will be needed. So more the material I will need for transmitting such high power from generation station to the load. So what we do, what engineers have done, they have innovated a transformer, which is step-up transformer. So what they will do, they will increase the voltage level of this power for the transmission purpose. And what are the voltages? What are those voltages? Those are called as transmission network. So in transmission network today, the voltages in India are like 66 kV, which is used in some states, Karnataka. Then you go to Gujarat, you will find the sub-transmission network is 66 kV. The next level is 132 kV, 220 kV, 400 kV, 765 or 800 kV, what we call. Okay, and latest, the voltages which are being under experimentation in India, the highest voltage level is 1200 kV. So we are stepping up the voltages even up to 1200 kV in the India. But what is the voltage level that at which I am using the power? Is not more than 430 volts at my household. But there are some industrial customers who are being supplied at 11 kV, who are being supplied at 66 kV or 132 kV, or even up to 220 kV. So we will be having, and all these customers who are using the power or who are getting the power at 220 kV are called as the ST consumers or EHV consumers. So we may again, when my main transmission system is 765 kV, excuse me for a minute. So when we are saying the power is transmitted at 220 kV or 765 kV, then I need to step it down further. So friends, cutting down to the, so when cutting down to the discussion, I will say in general, by a thumb rule, if I am using 1 kilowatt of energy, it's normally passing through 6 or 7 transformers in the network. The transformer, which is stepping up from the generation station, then transmission system, sub-transmission system, distribution network, and finally my distribution transformer. So there are lots of transformers involved. For utilizing 1 kilowatt of energy, it is passing through 7 kVA transformers or 7 transformers. So there are huge number of transformers in the network I have to understand about. I have to take care of. As an electrical engineer, I have to take care of the 7 transformers. For use of 1 kilowatt of energy by my consumer, I have to take care of 7 transformers in the circuit. So this is why the transformer is considered as a crucial equipment in the power system. So let us learn in detail. Now, you can see, have you seen such transformers? When we are working on the field, you might have seen a transformer as small as the left-hand side figure which we have shown. Okay, then you can see the transformer commonly used in front of your doors, in your villages, in your towns, on the poles or on some fixed structure. and the transformer as large as the third photograph shown in the slide. These are the substation transformers, probably 400 kV by 132 or 33 kV transformers, which have huge structure, many accessories to protect this transformer, to maintain these transformers. So some transformers are having radiators, some transformers conservator, huge bushings, huge turret cities. So all this is about, all these are the things which we have to learn about in these sessions, 2-3 sessions. Okay. Now, who got this idea to make a transformer? How all this journey started? That is also important to learn, because if somebody has done a good job, let us remember it. Definitely the transformer technology has undergone many transformations, but somebody has invented it at very basic principles. They have done lots of efforts to think about this. They have analyzed the problems, how we can make the usability of electricity easier, how to make the use of electrical power easy and common. See, earlier when the electrification started, the use of electricity started, the first electricity was generated in form of DC. Those were DC generators. But DC generator had limitations. There was a problem with the increase in voltage, the faster deterioration of your the faster deterioration of brushes of the generators. So transmitting DC power over long distance or carrying the DC power to larger community was a challenge. Then people like Faraday, the people like Lenz, people like Ferranti, they worked on the AC concepts and they come up with new technologies. That was alternating current. Now alternating alternators were also discovered, but again the use was local. Now how to transmit this power over long distance, that was a challenge. This challenge was taken over by 3 scientists, Otto Blathy, Miska Deri, and Karoli. And these were the Austro-Hungarian people who first designed and used the transformer in experimental and commercial systems. But these were very raw transformers, were not commercially economical. So the company called Westinghouse and the 3 engineers in that company, Lucien Gollard, Sebastian Ferranti, and William Stanley, they perfected the transformer design. You can see the photographs of all these stalwarts. And the first transformer, which was made in 1885, is given in the slide. So this is Mr. William Stanley, Ferranti, and Gollard from Westinghouse company perfected the design, and they made it easier and economical equipment. So though the induction was discovered in 1830, but the commercial transformer was manufactured, the first commercial transformer was manufactured in 1885, and the first village was electrified using transformer in 1886. So you can see the left-hand side transformer was manufactured or designed by Stanley in 1885, and the right side transformer is 1986 transformer, which was used for electrification of a US town. And that time, some Russian company, GANS, was also providing the help for making these transformers. So Russian company GANS is technically the first company who manufactured transformer in their factory. That company later on was taken over by Crompton Greaves in 2005 or 8, and it's now Crompton Greaves Hungary plant. So now we have seen external how the transformer looks, or internally how it used to look. But now we want to understand, or we have to understand, how this transformer looks from inside, which all are the important components of the transformer. So here you can see how this transformer looks, or what are the important accessories or components of these transformers. So first of all, when you see a transformer from external view, you can only see the tank of this transformer. There is an active part called core coil assembly, which is housed in a metallic tank. To protect this active part, it is housed in a metal tank. Then how to insert this assembly in the tank, or how to take out this assembly out of the tank. For that purpose, this tank is kept open from one side and covered by a lid. Then this transformer is, again, this active part will produce lots of heat because of the losses. Because when the transformer is working, you see, none of the machine in the world, I'm using word machine deliberately, because whether it is electrical equipment or mechanical equipment, when they are converting power or energy from one form to another form, there will be some losses. So there is a no loss-free machine available on this earth till today. So there are losses. From converting energy from one form to another form, there will be some losses, and the higher the losses, lower will be the efficiency of the equipment. And these losses are generally in the form of heat. So my transformer is also a machine. It is converting energy from one voltage to another voltage. So there will be losses. The losses we will cover in the next session, what all are the losses in the transformer. But those are majorly the losses in your core, that is your magnetic network. The losses which are there in your active component electrical network, I2R losses, eddy losses, core losses, hysteresis losses, and the loss of flux, that is called stray losses. So everything will generate heat. Now, this heat will increase temperature of my winding, temperature of my core, temperature of my insulation. Now this insulation material, what is this insulation material? You know, the good conductors and bad conductors. So bad conductors are also called as insulators. So what are those bad conductors we are using in the transformer? Those bad conductors or insulators which we are using in the transformer are of three kinds. One is paper, second is wood, third is oil. So oil is having two roles. One is insulation and another is cooling. The fourth type of insulation being, it will come under new technologies being used in the transformer is the fiberglass cylinders or fiberglass material. So that is the fourth type of insulation material we are using, or it is a new technology being implemented in the transformer industry. So to understand why the cooling is required or why oil is required, so oil first of all will have the better dielectric capabilities or properties as compared to air. So to reduce the clearances, we are using oil immersed transformers. So there will be the lower clearance is required, because of the higher dielectric coefficient of the fluid as compared to air. Then whatever the heat is produced in the transformer, that heat will affect the operation. How it will affect the operation? Because all my insulation material, paper, wood, have the thermal limits. If heat is more, my paper may degrade. If heat further increase, my paper may burn. If heat further increase, even wood will burn. If it further increase, even the oil may burn. So we have thermal limitations. So if I have to operate my transformer within this thermal limitations, we need this heat to be dissipated, or in other words, my transformer to be cooled. And for cooling this transformer, we are using the oil, a liquid inside the transformer. Now again, see, all this I am talking because there is a third number accessories or third number part in the transformer is a conservator. So what is use of conservator, or why the conservator is there? So when I am using a liquid inside transformer, which is a sealed equipment, okay, then when the temperature of this fluid will increase, it will expand. And when it will be cooled, it will get contracted. So there will be movement in the volume of this liquid. It will go up or it will go down. So if that is a sealed tank, it will be a problem. When my transformer oil temperature increases or transformer temperature increases, then oil will expand. So this will create extra pressure on my tank. So either I will have to increase the mechanical strength of my tank to withstand that pressure, or I will have to have some mechanism to absorb this expansion or contraction. So in industry, both the practices are being worked out. There are hermetically sealed transformers which have the better tank mechanical capacities, which can handle better pressures, or we are using conservators. So conservator is a tank, an empty tank or a half-filled tank, okay, which is connected to breather. Breather is literally breather. It is breathing in or breathing out the air which is left over in the conservator. So when my oil volume expands, the oil level in conservator will increase and it will push the air out. When the volume, when oil is getting cooled, the volume will be contracted. So volume in my conservator tank will come down. So the remaining volume will be filled with air. So from where this air will come? Again from breather. So transformer will breathe in. So that's why the conservator is there. Now, again, we have put the oil level indicator, the fourth part, and it is there to know what is the oil level in my transformer. Because due to the leakages or due to evaporation, if my oil quantity gets decreased, then there will be issue. My core coil assembly will not be cooled effectively. So I have to maintain the particular oil level in the transformer. So where I am monitoring this oil level, I am monitoring it in the conservator. If it is coming below the lower level, we will fill it. And in sometimes what happens, when I have filled this transformer in winter session, when my transformer was not on load, I have filled some extra quantity. And now my transformer, it is a summer season and I am in Nagpur, the ambient temperature is around 47-48 degrees Celsius. Everybody has put on the AC, the transformer load is full. Okay. Now the transformer load is full, the oil is being heated to higher level and volume has increased. So oil will start spilling out. So it should not happen. So that's why I also have the oil indicator to monitor the higher level of this transformer. Then there are certain protection equipments called Buchholz relay, or it is also called as a gas pressure actuated relay. So now when there is a machine it may malfunction. There may be some faults. There may be some problems with this machine. And due to these problems, machine may get damaged heavily. Okay, machine is getting damaged, but it may also damage its surrounding. Okay, surrounding is also damaged. But sometimes some person may be there near transformer and the fault is occurring and damage is happening. It may also be fatal. So I have to protect the damage of this machine. And to protect damage of machine, I need some protection equipments. So this transformer is protected. Some protections are provided on this transformer. And the common protections which are fitted on the transformer itself, apart from the electrical relays which are kept outside of the transformer or at the my control room. So which are these protections? Basically, these are Buchholz relay, pressure relief device, winding temperature monitor, oil temperature monitor, oil level gauge. So these are all protection equipments. So there is a Buchholz relay. Now to connect the oil between tank and conservator, we need some pipes. To regulate the voltage, we need some tap changers. To operate this tap changer, we again need some kind of operating mechanism. So there will be driver motor. There will be drive shafts. Then now, how should I connect the conductor to my transformer, or how I should connect this transformer between two circuits? I cannot connect a 765 kV conductor directly to tank because we need clearances, minimum clearances between because this tank is at ground potential. So I need to maintain minimum clearances between the live conductor of 765 kV or 7,65,000 volts and the ground. So there has to be some minimum clearances, and to maintain these minimum clearances and to downgrade or to lower down the voltage from top of this bushing to lower the the lower end of the bushing or the tank end of the bushing, there will be kind of different bushings we are using. Okay. So the connection point between your conductor and the transformer is called bushing. So wherever you will, at which point you will need bushings? In HV side also and in LV side also. For example, the transformer shown in the picture is step down transformer, which is stepping down the voltage from 765 kV to 132 kV. So what will be my LV side? LV side will be 132 kV. What will be my HV side? HV side will be 765 kV. So depending upon the ground to line clearances required, mandatory line to ground clearances, we will have the distance or the height of the bushing decided. Okay, so there will be HV bushings, there will be LV bushings. If the LV bushings will be shorter in the length, and LV bushings, HV bushings will be higher. Then again, can you measure 5,000 ampere directly in your ammeters? Can you measure 10,000 ampere current through your ammeters? No. So we will need some current transformers for the measurement of the current flowing through the transformer. Okay. The current is measured for two purposes. One is for metering and another is for its protection. So if the current is more than rated current of this transformer, then this transformer should be tripped. That means either it is overloading condition or it is fault. So depending on the, you might have learned the protection system. So I will not enter into that in detail. But what I want to say, there has to be some CTs to measure the current. Now I can have external CTs. The CT is mounted outside the transformer, separate equipments. or I can have those mounted on the top of my transformer tank, below my bushings. Those are ring type cities, and often they are termed as the bushing cities. The portion of the tank in which those are housed are called turrets. So my conductor will be passing through that ring type city. That will be primary of my city, and the turns wound in the form of the ring transformer. Those will be secondary side of my city. So those cities may have rating like 1600 by 1 or 5000 by 1. And what I will be getting, if the 5000 ampere current is flowing through that bushing or the transformer, I will be getting 1 ampere signal at the secondary of my city. So if the current becomes 6000, then my city will read 1.2 ampere. So if my city is reading 1.2 ampere, that means my transformer is operating at 20% overload. So whether my transformer can handle that 20% overload or not, that I know. When I have designed the transformer, that time I will know that whether my transformer can handle or not. And depending on that, we will have our operating relay mechanism. My relay, I will set whether that can handle 10% overload or 20% overload, or 20% overload should be treated as a faulty condition and my transformer should be out of operation. So there are requirement of city for that purpose. Then there is the magnetic circuit, which is called core, 15 number. What is the function of core? See, to understand the function of core, I have to understand the basic principle of the transformer. It is basically mutual induction. So the current flowing in one winding will produce some flux, alternating flux. The flux, alternating flux linked with the secondary winding will produce the electrical voltage in my secondary winding. And now basically flux are getting transferred from my primary winding to secondary winding. If it is transferred through air, it will be more spread and the loss of the flux will be more. The 100% flux will not be linked to secondary winding. To reduce these flux losses, we have to provide a low reactive path to this flux, and that is nothing but the core. The core is nothing but the steel stampings connected together. So I will show how the core looks like. There is a yoke, nothing but the part of core itself, the top part of the core. Then there will be some clampings required because this is there will be electromagnetic forces acting on my transformer. So to prevent the movement of my transformer active part from because of these forces, we have to clamp them together. There will be windings, LV winding and HV winding. There will be insulating material. There will be tap changer and the oil for cooling, and many valves will be there on my transformer. So these will be the parts of transformer which we are going to discuss in our next sessions in details. Okay. So moving to the development of the transformer technology, global scenario and Indian scenario. So you can see that in EHV segment globally, when the first transformer was invented in 1885, it took almost 50 years to move from 415 volt technology to 220 kV technology. Then another 20 years to move from 220 to 400. Another 10 years from 400 to 765 kV, and another 10 years to move it to 1200 kV. In India, the same way it was progressed. We were a little bit behind than the global technologies, but now we are much ahead, or at least on equivalent platform as compared to global practices. So now in India also we have the 500 MVA, 1200 kV system under test. Sorry, by mistake. Santosh sir, you have not changed the slide. Please change the slide.
Okay.
Sorry.
I have to move again further.
No. Okay. Just stop.
Okay.
Yeah. Before that. One slide previous. One previous slide.
Again.
Okay.
Previous?
No. Just this. Now, when you are an engineer, you will be dealing with SLDs. SLDs are nothing but the symbolic representations, single line diagrams we call. So you may see various symbols for the transformers in the SLD, what you are referring to. So the transformers are represented by many of such symbols, and each symbol have different meaning. Whether it is air core transformer or it is a variable voltage transformer, or whether it is the transformer with iron core, iron dust core, the ferrite core. Okay. So there are various symbols, and you must be aware of these symbols. So whenever you come across SLD and the symbol is something different, then please recheck that symbol before taking any decision on that equipment. Next slide, sir. So now, basically based on the number of the windings, or I will say the types of transformer based on the number of windings, there are primarily two types: multiple wound transformers or auto transformers. Multiple, basically we refer double wound because there will be two separate windings for primary and secondary circuit. It will be coupled to core. It may not be coupled to core. Generally, in recent past, we have not seen the air core transformer because of the development of CRGO or core material to reduce the reactance of the circuit, or I will say the magnetic resistance of the circuit. Okay. And there is another type called auto transformers. When your voltage ratios are less, I will say in the range of 1.1 or 1.2, like you are just changing the voltage from 400 kV to 765 kV or 220 kV to 400 kV. In such case, we do not have the separate windings. We manage with the single winding to save the copper. Because the engineer has a dual role in the industry. One is to make the machines. The first people say they are to reduce the effort, invent something, because I want to reduce my effort. I want to have ease of working. So invent some machine that will reduce my efforts. And once we invented such machines, then they say, this is very costly. Now you optimize the cost of this machine. So we have dual challenges. And all the time, because of these dual challenges, there is a change in technology, or there is a evolution of new technology, or I will say inventions happening. So earlier transformer, when invented, were always thought of two windings, two separate windings, two magnetically and electrically separated windings. But now the engineers thought we have to reduce the cost, optimize the cost. If the voltage ratio is not too high, we can have electrically coupled, magnetically separate transformers. Those are called auto transformers. So in auto transformers, basically, there will be some part of the winding which will be common to both primary and secondary. And there will be some part or number of extra turns electrically connected to that common part of series winding, which will be called as the secondary winding. So lower number of turns will form LV part, and higher the lower number of turns plus extra turns, which will make the number of turns more, will form your HV part of the winding. So your lower number of the turns part is called as common or series part will be LV side, and combined both will be HV side. So this is called the auto transformer. Next slide, sir. Now, based upon the application, again, there are different types of the transformers. I have listed few of them. I could not list all these application-based types of the transformer. So you might have seen, you might have heard generator transformer, station transformer, unit auxiliary transformer, interconnecting transformer, traction transformer, rectifier transformer, furnace transformer. So what is all this depending on, or what they have the different difference in manufacturing? Yes, they have. Generator transformer will have some different design criteria than rectifier transformer. Furnace transformer will have some different design criteria than your station transformer. So that's why they have categorized as per their application. When I'm talking about generator transformer, the voltage ratio is very high. I'm generating at 22 kV or 21.6 kV and I'm transmitting this to 400 kV directly from generation plant. So the transformation ratio is almost 20. And also, you see, what is the capacity of generation plant? Each machine today is having capacity of 500 megawatt or 800 megawatt supercritical thermal plants. So this 800 megawatt transformer may need 1000 MVA transformer. Can you imagine the ampere rating of this 1000 MVA transformer at 22 kV? We are engineers, we can calculate it. So it may be somewhere around 25,000 amperes. So now, can you calculate the cross-section area of the conductor required for carrying out the 20,000 or 15,000 amperes of the current? Generally, in generation transformer, due to such high current amperage rating, there will be higher I square R losses. So to reduce the R part of the conductor, we keep the cross-section area more, because again, resistance of the conductor is equal to R is equal to rho L by A. Okay, so rho is the resistive coefficient of the material of the conductor. L is the length of conductor, which will again depend upon the design of the transformer or voltage of the transformer. How many turns I have to put? What is the diameter of the core which I have to keep there? Because again, core diameter will decide my flux density. Phi is equal to V by F. What is the frequency? What is the voltage of the transformer? That will decide my phi. Then I have to keep the B, the current flux density of the transformer within the limit of 1.7, less than 1.7 Tesla. Then I keep it, because there may be overexcitation or underexcitation. So I keep in the safety limit. I will put this current flux density in the range of 1.5 Tesla. See, when I am limiting my flux density, again, depending upon the voltage, I have to decide the cross-section area of the core. So core cross-section area for this transformer will again be huge. So my diameter of each turn will be higher. Then voltage is also high at HV side. So the length of the winding will be higher. I have to match the LV winding length to have the symmetry in the transformer. So length I am not able to control. Then to limit the resistance R, I have something in my controller, is that the cross-section area of that conductor. So I use the lower current density when I am going for generator transformers. Then when I am having lower current density, then my cross-section area will be very high. If I consider 2 ampere per mm square, if I keep, okay. So to have, to carry the current of 20,000 ampere, I will need cross-section area of that conductor to be 10,000 square mm. So you can think about the thickness or the diameter of that conductor, and that is I have to wound on my cylinders.
Papa,
so that we have to, that is the difference why these transformers are named differently. When I'm talking about station transformer, the role of station transformer, as it suggested, is a very Simple. It is catering to the load in that station, whether it is generating station or whether it is substation. So the role of the station transformer is to manage the load inside the station. Like there will be lighting load, there will be auxiliary loads, there will be, when it is a generating station, you will find different plants, whether it is coal handling plant, whether it is a boiler plant, then there will be certain loads. And to handle all this load, there will be a station transformer. Now this station transformer will be having power connections from 2 or more substation to keep this station load intact. Whenever, even if your power plant is under shutdown, your station should be charged. All auxiliary load should be available. The electricity for auxiliary load should be available. So in this way, the transformers, according to their applications, are, I will say, distinguished, and they are named differently. Like when we are using rectifier transformers, in case of HVDC substations, you will find the transformers are rectifier transformers. So when you are coupling these transformers with rectifiers, there will be lots of harmonics. There will be lots of heat generated in this transformer due to harmonics. So we have to keep all these points into account. These harmonics will affect, the higher frequencies will affect my magnetic circuit. The eddy current losses will be more, the strays will be more. So I have to compensate those. I have to take care of the overfluxing or underfluxing of this, my core. It should not go beyond hysteresis curve. Otherwise, my core will get saturated. So each and every application will have implication on my design of the transformer. So we have to consider all these facts while ordering the transformer, or while buying a new transformer, or making the specifications of the transformer, where I am going to use it. Now coming to very basic electrical engineering and talking about transformer working principle, how does it work? So in a transformer, there is a magnetic circuit called as transformer core, where the flux will transfer from one electrical circuit to another electrical circuit. So there will be primary current flowing through a primary winding, okay, because of a primary voltage. And there will be, there will be secondary electrical circuit. So because of the current in primary circuit, there will be flux produced. This flux will be linked, alternating flux will be linked to your secondary winding, and the current, the voltage will be generated across the terminals of your secondary voltage. Now, what will be the voltage ratio? If I am feeding 220 kV at the primary side, what voltage I will get at secondary side? It depends on the ratio of your voltage turn. It depends on the ratio of your turns. What is now ratio of turns? How many turns I have in the primary and how many turns I have in the secondary. For example, if I want to convert a 220 kV voltage to 22 kV voltage, step down. That means I have to reduce from 220 kV to 20 kV, 22 kV. That is 10 times. So my turns ratio has to be 10 times. That means for 220 kV, if I have put 100 turns, then in the secondary for 22 kV, I will have to add 10 turns. Similarly, if the current in my 220 kV network is 1 ampere, the current in my 22 kV side will be 10 ampere. So when I am putting 10 turns, I have to take care about conductor cross section. Because in primary, my conductor may be thinner because it has to carry only 1 ampere. In secondary, though the number of turns are less, but it has to carry more current, 10 times more current. So the conductor cross section area will be more. The conductor cross section area will be almost 10 times. Area will be 10 times. Okay. So that is the principle. The ratio of voltage ratio is directly proportional to the turns ratio, number of turns.
So
next slide, sir.
Time is also finished actually.
Oh,
I could cross 12 p.m.
Huh?
We have already crossed 12 p.m. So whether we should have a question answer session?
Yeah, please, sir. Basically, I took lots. Means I could not even start the topic. Okay.
Okay. Okay, we have 3 sessions, so we'll try to cover it.
Yeah.
So all the participants are requested. I am muting to all of you, unmuting. So please, you can ask your queries. So I have unmuted you. Now you can ask your queries.
Yeah, Pramod.
Hello.
Yeah, Mr. Pramod, tell me.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
सर तुम्ही सुरुवातीला सांगितलं होतं ना जे ऑइल असतं ट्रान्सफॉर्मर मध्ये ते मेन 2 पर्पज साठी यूज करतो, एक फॉर कूलिंग आणि दुसरं इन्सुलेशन.
बरोबर.
मग सर ते ऑइल आपण बऱ्याच वेळेस पुस्तकामध्ये डिस्टिल ऑइल म्हणून एक शब्द वापरतो सर.
कुठला?
डिस्टिल ऑइल म्हणून.
सी बेसिकली तुम्ही क्वेश्चन पहिले पूर्ण पूर्ण.
तर मेन डिफरन्स काय सर, नॉर्मल ऑइल आणि डिस्टिल ऑइल मध्ये काय फरक असतो?
सी बेसिकली डिस्टिल ऑइल जे पुस्तकामध्ये आपण वाचतो, बरोबर आहे, इट इज अ नेम ऑफ प्रोसेस. ओके. डिस्टिल आपलं जे आपण ट्रान्सफॉर्मर मध्ये कॉमनली जे ऑइल यूज करतो ते बेसिकली मिनरल ऑइल आहे. नाऊ व्हॉट इज मिनरल ऑइल? इट इज अ पेट्रोलियम प्रोडक्ट. जेव्हा आपण पेट्रोलियम क्रूड घेतो, बरोबर आहे, त्यापासून वेगवेगळे प्रोडक्ट्स आपण बाहेर काढतो, बरोबर आहे. आपल्याला पेट्रोल मिळतं, डिझेल मिळतं, केरोसिन मिळतं. तर हे आपल्याला व्हॉट इज द प्रोसेस नेम? दॅट इज कॉल्ड destructive distillation. Okay, destructive distillation is the name of the process. What we do, we heat the crude oil, okay, in a long chimney or long distillation funnel. Okay, आणि याला पूर्ण वेपराइज आपण करतो आणि ती जी आपली फनेल असते, डिस्टिलरी असते, त्याच्या वेगवेगळ्या हाईटला आपण वेगवेगळ्या टेम्परेचरला त्याला कूल ठेवतो. ओके. So these fumes which are generated by heating up the your crude oil will be cooled at different temperatures at different levels of your distiller. मग ज्या ऑइलचा लाईक जर ते पेट्रोल असेल, पेट्रोल लवकर कूल होत असेल तर खालच्या लेवलला मला पेट्रोल मिळेल, त्याच्या वरच्या लेवलला डिझेल मिळेल, त्याच्या वरच्या लेवलला केरोसिन मिळेल, त्याच्या वरच्या लेवलला मला मिनरल ऑइल मिळेल ट्रान्सफॉर्मरचं, बरोबर आहे. So that is why it is called as distilled oil, because it is produced from distillation of your crude oil. But basically it is one and the same. Mineral oil is formed the mineral oil. It is the mineral oil which is we obtained from the distillation.
सर म्हणजे डिस्टिल ऑइल म्हणजे सिम्पली फिल्ट्रेशन असतं का?
प्रमोदजी, जसं मी तुम्हाला सांगितलं की डिस्टिलेशन इज अ प्रोसेस.
राईट.
बरोबर आहे. डिस्ट्रक्टिव्ह डिस्टिलेशन, बरोबर आहे. ते तुम्ही गुगलवर थोडंसं वाचा त्याच्यावर. दॅट इज अ केमिकल प्रोसेस ऍक्च्युअली, बरोबर आहे. त्याला तुम्ही डिस्ट्रक्टिव्ह डिस्टिलेशन काय असतं ते वाचून घ्या, म्हणजे तुम्हाला क्लिअर होईल. ठीक आहे.
ठीक आहे.
ओके. Lakshmanji, yes.
Sir, out of curiosity, I'm asking, is there practically is there any application for zigzag transformers? You talked about different kind of transformers, right? Like rectified transformer, auxiliary transformer, like generating transformer. Is there anywhere we are using currently zigzag transformers?
Zigzag zigzag windings are used in earthing transformers sometimes, and
okay,
they are some critical when your phase shifting transformers are there, then you need different kind of transformer winding configurations. So even in phase shifting transformers, zigzag windings are used.
Okay, sir. Any practical, I mean, anywhere in India we are using, sir, those?
Yeah. Phase shifting transformers are very common transformers. They are being used for many electronic applications.
Okay, sir. Fine.
In many motor drives, and these are connected to phase shifting transformers, where you need the different firing angles. Mr. Santosh can explain it better because he has huge experience in HVDC. So it's one kind of electronic application only when you need various phase angles to trigger the your I will say power electronic circuits.
Okay, sir. Fine. Thank you.
Okay. So anybody?
Are there some queries, or we should stop this session?
Yeah, there is some query from Mr. Anil Manekar.
Yeah, I am unmuting him.
Sir, I would like to know the present protection scheme about the transformers in industry or substations. Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Hello.
Anil, we can hear you, but not clearly. So what is your query?
Sir, my query is I want to ask know about the protection scheme used for transformers in presently in industries or at substations.
Okay, so in next session I will cover that part. See, basically the protections on the transformers are like inbuilt protections on transformer are those are WTI, winding temperature indicator, OTI, oil temperature indicator, pressure relief device. Then you have Buchholz relay, you have magnetic oil level gauge, you have oil surge relays. These are kind of the protections which are fixed on the transformer. Nowadays, even we are using dissolved gas analyzers on the transformer. We are also providing fiber optic sensors inside the winding, and its output is taken as the again integrated with winding temperature indicators and have the protection. These are the inbuilt protections, and when I talk about the electrical protection or relays, then there is the basic protection which is most important for the transformer is the differential protection, differential current protection. Then we have earth fault protection, overcurrent protection, restricted earth fault protection. So this kind of protections we are using on the transformers. Each protection will have different function, and it will be very difficult to explain it in 5-10 minutes in the question answer session. So we will have a dedicated session on the protection of the transformer. It is a good idea. Next.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, what is the name of the oil used in transformer? Means मतलब अभी हम मतलब डीजल यूज करते हैं, पेट्रोल, वैसा ट्रांसफार्मर ऑयल के लिए स्पेशली कौन सा मतलब केमिकल कॉन्फ़िगरेशन है क्या और केमिकल नेम है क्या?
Good. So basically transformer oil is called as transformer oil itself, or it is called as mineral oil. That is the widely used transformer insulation fluid, and the reference standard for this Indian standard is BIS 335, and IS standard is 60296 is the IEC standard. There are many other fluids called as silicon oil or natural ester or synthetic ester, which are also used in the transformer for the different applications. Like when I'm using mineral oil, it is the widely used, most cheapest solution. But there are also some electrical fluids which have the better applications or better properties, but those are costlier. So natural ester is one of the oil which is being picked up more fastly. The technology is being picked up more fast because of its fire safety and other advantages. Silicon oil is used in many rectifier transformers by NTPC or the customers who was using the transformer for rectifier purpose or rectifier duty. And there are synthetic esters which are used in the cold countries where the ambient temperatures are very less. In such countries, synthetic esters are used. Any other question?
हेलो
Yep.
सर, वो बकल्स रिले का ऑपरेशन बता सकते क्या आप?
See, basically, Buchholz relay is gas actuated relay. Buchholz relay में क्या होता है कि when a transformer sees any internal fault, okay, जैसे ट्रांसफॉर्मर में मेरे इंटरनल फॉल्ट हुआ है, जैसे इंटर टर्न शॉर्ट सर्किट, 2 टर्न के बीच में शॉर्ट हो गया है, ओके, या मेरा कोई वाइंडिंग टैंक को छू रहा है, ग्राउंड फॉल्ट, ओके, इन सच केसेस द टेम्परेचर इनसाइड टैंक विल बी वेरी हाई एट दैट फॉल्ट पॉइंट. जहां पे शॉर्ट सर्किट हो रहा है वहां पे वेरी हेवी करंट विल फ्लो. वो लोकल पॉइंट पे I2R बहुत ज्यादा होगा. I2R ज्यादा होगा तो I2RT ज्यादा होगा. मेरा करंट बहुत ज्यादा फ्लो हो रहा है तो मेरा टेम्परेचर वहां पे बढ़ेगा. एंड दिस टेम्परेचर विल ब्रेक द बॉन्ड्स ऑफ माय ऑयल. मेरा ऑयल उसमें जलेगा, फ्यूम्स प्रोड्यूस होंगे. ठीक है, तो अभी ये जो फ्यूम्स प्रोड्यूस होंगे, ये फ्यूम्स कहाँ जाएंगे? गैस पानी के लिक्विड के ऊपर रहेगा, लिक्विड के नीचे रहेगा गैस?
ऊपर, लिक्विड के ऊपर
ऊपर जाएगा. तो ये जब गैस मेरा ऊपर जाएगा तो ये गैस क्या करता है, वो पाइप में से वो बुकॉल्स रिले में जाता है और बुकॉल्स रिले का जो फ्लोट है उसको ऑपरेट करता है. जैसे बुकॉल्स रिले के फ्लोट को ऑपरेट करेगा तो पहला फ्लोट होता है अलार्म के लिए, ठीक है, और गैसेस और बढ़ गए तो वो क्या करेगा, सेकंड फ्लोट को भी पुश करेगा. तो सेकंड फ्लोट भी मेरा ऑपरेट हो जाएगा. सेकंड फ्लोट ऑपरेट होगा तो क्या होगा, देयर विल बी ट्रिप कमांड टू माय सर्किट ब्रेकर. तो मेरा जो ट्रांसफार्मर के पहले सर्किट ब्रेकर लगा है, जैसे आपके घर में फैन के पहले स्विच लगा होता है, वैसे ही ट्रांसफार्मर के आगे पीछे दोनों सर्किट ब्रेकर लगे होते हैं. तो वो सर्किट ब्रेकर को ट्रिप कर देगा. तो क्या होगा, सर्किट ब्रेकर को ट्रिप कर दिया तो देयर विल बी नो फर्दर फ्लो ऑफ करंट. तो मेरा करंट उसमें से फ्लो होना बंद हो जाएगा. और जैसे ही करंट फ्लो होना बंद हो जाएगा तो मेरा ट्रांसफार्मर में जो फॉल्ट है वो वहीं पे रुक जाएगा. ठीक है, तो और उससे ज्यादा मेरा जो है नुकसान ज्यादा नहीं होगा, नुकसान को बचाएगा. सो दैट इज द फंक्शन ऑफ बुकॉल्स रिले.
हो सर.
नेक्स्ट, so guys, I hope the session was not boring and it has given you certain knowledge.
Yes, Deepak sir, session was very nice and almost we enjoyed this session. So we will be again waiting for your consecutive 2 sessions.
Yeah.
We are on behalf of Institute Industry Forum. Once again, we thankful to you and also to our all participants. We are thank you so much for this. So all are requested, you can join this forum. So contact number is given here in the chat box. You can join us for our coming sessions. Once again, thanks to all of you. So Deepak sir, should we stop the session?
Yeah, sure. From my side, I'm fine.
Okay. Okay. So we are stopping today's session here.